take me down to Book Island Depository City, where the drinks are strong and the children are really mouthy. Welcome to the after party, everybody. Hey, hi, hello.
Won't you please take me home? I'm so sorry. I don't know where that came from.
I don't know.
Incredible.
Amanda says, fixing my peak.
I was gonna do that too, but I didn't want to overtake Amanda's good.
It was happening.
Oh, no, you go ahead. I'm sorry if I stepped on you. You're Axl Rose.
No, it's fine. I think you did a perfect one.
Okay.
Listen.
Nice.
Anyone out there want to get licked?
The famous Axl Rose quote.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely the same band.
Guns N' Roses and Kiss are the same. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you see them and you're like, man, those are the same men.
The two genders, Julia. That's right.
Maybe it's a Jekyll and Hyde situation
Mm.
where like Axl Rose and Slash are just walking around and then their bodies configure to have the face paint on.
You just added a third band to Eric.
Very quickly, though, because Amanda made a good joke. What gender is everyone? Guns N' Roses or Kiss? I'm Kiss.
I'm Kiss.
I think I'm also Kiss.
I'm Guns only?
Oh,
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah.
Texas.
You can take the guy out of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't take the guns out of Texas.
Out of Brandon. Yes, that's what I always say.
I meant you added a third person, not a third band there.
That's all right. I'll allow it.
Guys, we got a lot to cover today.
We do.
And
No,
this
you
podcast,
don't want to talk about this more?
this podcast keeps
Listen.
getting better with age, unlike the final touring act of Kiss, which is happening this year in the year of our
Oh,
Lord
no.
2023.
Amanda, that's very rude, and I don't appreciate this Kiss slander on the podcast. That's all I'm saying.
I'm now imagining a 70-year-old man in makeup, and it's really
Yeah.
making me upset.
Yeah.
I mean, the older we get, the more we need to make up, Eric.
That's true. That's true.
It's not wrong. That's not wrong.
I know. It's just funny that Gene Simmons looks like every Jewish boy when he was 13 with
Yep.
the curly hair.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them had a long tongue, but I guess that's like a thing that's on Fox News right now.
It's fair. Yeah.
Interesting.
Really
It's
slides.
a new Jewish rumor. I'm going to start. All Jews have super long tongues.
Speaking of Jekyll and Hyde, you recently joined a new social media app and got bullied immediately. Would you like to just talk about that here? It doesn't have much to
happened,
do with join the party, but it is topical.
Sure.
Oh, Eric, did you join Blueski?
I did join Blueski.
Gotcha.
That's the app where you talk about Blue's Clues and Bluey only.
Yes,
Is
like
it-
the Blue Skidoo glasses. We'll get to it.
You got bullied by Blue?
Yeah, I got
Yes.
bullied by Paprika's a motherfucker. I'll tell you that. Yeah, I went on Blue Sky and I finally had an opportunity to like post for the first time. I had another opportunity. So the first thing I said was, I'm on Blue Sky and I know exactly what to say. That Bruce Springsteen and Billy Joel are the same guy. It's a Jekyll and Hyde situation. And immediately, within 2 minutes, a guy said, haha, good joke, but that doesn't make any sense because they have totally different sounds and musical qualities. And I'm like,
So why would you say it's a good joke? Random man on the internet.
oh, because he was being mean?
Ugh.
He was being rude? He was being a rude man? And I'm like, oh no.
Less bullied, but just like stupid at it?
Yeah.
You got stupid at.
Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
You
like,
got
oh no.
mansplained.
You got
Yeah.
I was like, you got
You did.
me. I didn't know what I was talking about when I wrote this. Nuts.
Yeah. I don't even know who little Stevie Van Sant is.
Little Blueski Van Sant. He was on The Sopranos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my sort of masterful hosting strategy here, just to like peel back the curtain here and just is to say, hey, Eric, was that experience at all like ours dealing with Book Depository adults in these last 3 episodes?
Was it?
Are there any Book Depository adults maybe wearing some like heteronormative bullying t-shirts on Blueski or here at Book Depository Island?
I think on there, someone did ask if we had any other like slogans that were on Book Depository shirts.
Oh, we sure do.
Always.
So
Yep.
if anyone wants to share any of them that they've seen or maybe that they've bought or some vintage ones they found on eBay, like please go ahead.
Well, there's definitely some upcoming in the future episodes. So
Oh, I
get
forgot.
ready for that.
We have some
Oh,
more.
that's right. Yeah.
So is that a who can say?
It is a who could say. There is one. I saw this on eBay. It's from like 86. And it's, I wish Bookie was my husband, but I guess I'll settle for this fucking bug.
Damn.
Yeah. Mine is we finish each, and then the other person said other sandwiches. That's a real Disney couple shirt that I just found on the internet.
That is a quote from a Disney movie. Yep.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
We finish each other's books. And it just
There you
Oh, that's
go.
good.
Someone's just wearing the word book.
Yep. Here's another fun Disney couple shirt. One says broke and one says spoiled. And I want you to guess which one's for the man and which one's for the woman.
Well, obviously the man is spoiled, Amanda.
Yeah.
Really?
Women are the breadwinners here.
They're doctors.
they're not-
They're
yeah,
pirate
come on.
queens.
This is Vertistello.
Exactly. No, but guys, it has been so fun getting to know the book depository and this whole ecosystem here. Not to mention, there's a whole other half of the parking area, by the way, that we haven't even touched yet. But there have been so many things happening in the book depository. We were separated. That was wild. And Crimson's Exchange, just the whole ecosystem of its own. So, players, how did you feel about our first kind of foray into the book depository in episode 7 as we met Bookie and Piney and searched the big room?
My shirt says I want a divorce.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
What does your partner's shirt say?
Okay. I like
Damn.
wait, that's fucking awesome. And then the OK's in a book? Like it's an OP, it's like open?
Shit.
My new headcanon, I'm sorry to distract, but my new headcanon is that instead of getting engaged at Book Depository, like in Disney World, you get divorced at Book Depository. Like that's the thing that you get. You go to Book Depository to get divorced. It's like a thing
Right.
people do.
You take your child there to explain that you're breaking up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Anyway, how do we feel about these things?
Just like my dad did in the corporate cafeteria of the building where we both worked. Just good memories.
Wow. Didn't
Good
know that
memories.
fact.
Mm-hmm.
Ouch.
Yeah.
On your way out of the cafeteria, you went to the gift shop and got a T-shirt that said, "My dad just got divorced."
Yep.
So I feel great about Book Depository Island. It's a very cool concept. Eric, I love that you combine two of my favorite things, which is being a Disney adult and also books.
Books! I was shocked, confused, dismayed, discombobulated, forlorn, excited about getting kicked out of the room.
Yes.
Yes. But Brandon, we had a whole episode before that even happened where we, of course, here in the subheader that Eric has titled Shark Week in our after party agenda, because we had a whole encounter with the book sharks before Troy got swallowed up by the sea and Umbi had to face allegations of sleeping with a married avocado.
I super liked the whole aspect of, okay, this is a theme park, you're meeting the quote unquote theme park characters, the Mickey-esque Bookie, and the part that I feel like we almost forgot about because Book Depository Island is so interesting is the whole hey, there's resurrection magic happening here.
Yeah, I
Yes.
literally just read my notebook to prep for this, Julia, and I had that note. I was like, we didn't do anything with that.
We did not do anything about that. I have a feeling, and because we in the podcast haven't gotten to the Lake encounter, I have a feeling that maybe those two things might be connected, but I'm not sure. And I can't say yet. It's a real who can say.
There's a version of Bookie that's just Jesus Christ resurrected.
That is
Maybe.
possible.
Julia, I do want to say that this is your fault
Yep.
because you decided like a fucking genius to attach olfactory things to Cammy's magic.
Mhm.
And originally I said it as a joke, and then I'm like, oh, wait a second. that's awesome. And I think it's something that knowing that all of your magic has a smell is something that's pulling forward and something that can be easily identified. I think it's a really wonderful thing that shows up in a lot of my favorite fantasy, that magic is tangible and you know about it, and associating types of magic with certain things has been really fun to think about. So this is your fault for being detail-oriented and creative.
You know what? A peek behind the curtain, that is a running joke in my home campaign with friend of the pod, Misha.
Oh, sure.
That's your detail-oriented and creative?
No, well, that too, but thank you.
Yeah, Misha and I are always dunking on Julia, telling her how detail-oriented she
That's
is.
true. It's a fun fact about Eric and Misha. But
Why don't you go get a planner, you fucking nerd?
but I made a joke once like, oh, does this like certain planer thing smell like the plane that it's on, right? And so I thought that would be a funny thing to do. And it really works for Cammy because like the smell of tea is something that like is very identifiable. You can tell a green tea from an herbal tea, from a black tea, from an oolong, etc., etc.
For sure.
Just from smelling it. So it makes sense that Cammy's flavor of magic, or I guess sense of magic, is olfactory. So I'm glad we could incorporate that. It's very fun.
Also, the thing about olfactory, the olfactory senses being tied to memory so close, I think makes sense for and magic. And depending on how you feel about, magic in your life or in your magic system, I think it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, Brandon, this is a question. It wasn't addressed to you by Malignant Sloth,
It
but
was addressed at me.
Yes.
it was, I think it implicates you in a way.
Damn.
Because the question is, do the PCs regret not using their appetizer from the freebie tickets? What kind of apps was the exchange serving? And I just, as a fellow appetizer connoisseur, I do have to just sort of address this failing.
Shit, man.
We were
fucked
just so
up.
into the drinks,
I know. I was too excited by the Researcher's Delight and the bear heads and everything. Damn it. We should have got some fucking nachos, man. What were we doing?
Should we all like say the appetizer that we would have gotten if we had ordered
Yes.
from Crimson's Exchange?
On the count of 3?
I do want to say, though, this was for like an appetizer at one of the food stalls. So it wasn't supposed to be like in a thing. You got like a get one snack for free out on the promenade.
Gotcha. Like a churro.
I reject your official canon, sir. And
We
insert
could
my
have
own.
gotten food there.
No, you could have gotten food there. I'm saying the free ticket was for
okay.
that. That's in the
Gotcha,
VIP package.
That's on
I'm not
us.
telling you couldn't have bought nachos. What kind of DM would I be? Where I was like, no, you're not allowed to buy nachos.
No, they don't sell nachos here.
They have a liquor license, but they don't have a kitchen in the back. They don't.
They have a microwave at least.
Yeah, I'm saying for this exercise, they have carts in the promenade that you got one that was in the VIP package.
Right, so it would have been like a bookie churro or
Bookie
a
bar.
bookie-shaped, a
Yes,
bookie bar,
exactly.
a bookie-shaped pretzel,
Yes.
etc., etc.
I would have really liked some Bookie Dippin' Dots would be the thing that I would be most excited
Ooh.
about.
Some bookin' dots. Some
Exactly.
bookin'
Bookin' dots.
Yeah.
Now
Maybe
we're-
it's like little shreds, like shaved ice or like, coconut flakes, like
Okay.
instead of the dots.
Like a hollow, yeah.
Oh, shut up. It's rolled ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
Of
Like
course.
books.
Cute.
Like books.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon, I'm concerned that Umbi is doing a lot on you because this is a count of 2 NPCs you said shut up to immediately, and now you're doing it in the after party. I'm concerned that Umbi is a bad influence on you.
Look,
It's
y'all.
possible.
We all decided to do a pirate campaign. You knew the stakes. I was going to become rude.
It's
Mhm.
true. He bought a hat and everything, but I have
Yeah.
to say it's creeping out of hat time. And it's a neutral observation.
He's not wearing the hat. I'm just
No.
pointing it out.
Yeah.
And let's say that child was not aggressive and held 2 knives until Umbi said shut up to him. Let's just say that.
Eric, is that literally why you pull out the knives?
Yeah.
I didn't say shut up to the kid. I said shut up to my colleagues.
Well,
That's the thing.
Because the kid said something about like I forget what he said, but he brought up something exciting, and so Amanda and Julia were talking. We're like,
it was
what's-
bar
what's-
trivia. We
Yeah,
were
bar
all
trivia.
Oh,
saying
you're talking
And I
about
was like,
bar
shut up.
Yeah.
Bar trivia to the kid. So that's hilarious.
I love that. I love that child deeply. And, we get inspiration from all places. So
Orlando's the greatest NPC you've added to the campaign so far.
I love Orlando.
and so true to real Orlando, just full of knives, kids with knives.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and they think that someone's saying shut up to them and then they fucking start something.
That was me as a child.
Yeah.
It's not wrong.
Julia, I will show you 200 people who do this in Nassau Coliseum parking lots right now.
Well, Eric, that's where I would tell full-ass adults to shut up. So.
Yes. Yeah, or like at a hockey game, and then Julie turns around and goes, "Don't curse, you motherfucker."
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
Right before she checks someone in the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 years old.
And pulls out her 2 knives that have Mickey Mouse's face on them.
Yeah, one retracts, one does not. You want to figure out which?
I got one of these from set. I'm not going to tell you which one.
It's New Jersey roulette.
Yeah, right.
My uncle brought this back on the set of The Sopranos. I'm not going to tell you which one it is. Christopher Moltisanti used this.
Exactly right. But listen, guys, we can't get sidetracked here about the Crimson Exchange. We got to get through the word sharks and, of course, the separation first before we talk more about bar trivia and the researcher's delight and the special researcher's delight and the glasses. God, so much.
Yes.
So,
Yes, so much.
Grace Robichaux wants to know, Eric, how exactly do the word sharks work?
Good question. So the word sharks work because they are a reskinned bullet, which are land sharks from the official Dungeons & Dragons monster manual, because I didn't think this was happening this episode.
Well,
Yeah.
oh, really?
No, I don't know what I was thinking. I really thought you were going to spend more time in the promenade. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to riff and make up some carts and make up some stands that you can go to. Maybe you'll end up going to the Crimson Exchange, which I had prepped by that point. But you ended up going immediately towards the book depository that I wasn't anticipating.
Well, Eric, everyone knows when you go to a theme park, you do the high
Yeah.
volume attractions first, and then you do food and like wandering around and stuff like that. You got to get on those lines, even if you got VIP.
No, I thought it was like the Hall of Presidents, the book depository. Like the
Ah,
actual
okay.
Not for Troy,
Interesting.
baby. For Troy, that's his King Ka.
I think you've trained us too good. Every time you like put something in front of us that's exciting, we're like, no side quest. Let's go straight there.
I guess so. And so I kind of like bided my time with Piney. I knew that I wanted to have like a person at the front, but I kind of just like, I have this NPC list to make sure that I'm using different like plants and bugs and so I'm not just like doing fruit all the time, which I'm realizing is like the thing that I lean on the most. So
Yeah.
I'm just like pine tree. Let's come up. I like full shag pine. I threw on the silk like blind sense. And then we just kind of went from there. I also wanted to create an NPC who I thought was helpful because I feel like I either intentionally or unintentionally, or maybe you three are just annoyed at NPCs a lot, who's not helpful. So I wanted Piney to be able to do that. And then I'm like, oh, they're really going to go into the big room. And then it just I just had to do it on the fly. Yeah.
And Eric, before we get deeper into the word sharks, Julia Brandon, what were your initial reads on Piney? Because they took a interesting sort of arc over the course of these 3 episodes.
Listening back to the episode, I realized how much we were just like honing in on Piney and like trying to nitpick everything that they said. Anytime they were like, how are you going to read? And we're like, what other ways are there to read? Oh my goodness, what's going on? Piney, give us all the information. And they were just like, no, I just like, if you're going to read different, just let me know. I guess I want to help. And we're all like, suspicious.
I'm a concierge. I don't know what you want.
We are in a world in which there are many kinds of appendages and senses. And so Eric threw a bone out that was like, oh yeah, what kind of way do you want to read? And I want to know, what are some ways that people read? I was also trying to pull some improv out of Eric, of course. But
Snatch.
But yeah, I was genuinely like, I don't know, like with cilia or water tension or something. I don't know, you know?
Well,
Yeah.
you can see now that the blue skidoo glasses were revealed, is that you were in the VIP, and I think this is something maybe that I've learned from all of like the scam documentaries that I watch with Amanda, where like Anna Delvey ends up going to like the plaza and the concierges there are like, hey, what's going on? And then they're like, oh no, I shouldn't give them the full package. I really shouldn't. Where like they threw that out there, Piney threw that out there, and then you three were like, what is that? And then Piney's like, oh,
you don't know. Never mind.
never mind. I'm discreet. I can't tell you. You have to tell me. And that's where that conversation went, because Piney's, very good at their job, and they kind of tried to navigate that situation. And then I think throwing the word sharks out there hopefully would have gotten your attention, which I think it did.
It did. Oh boy, it did. The minute you were like, there's word sharks, I was like, yes, bring me to them.
In my defense, I think I cut it out of the episode, but I did stop for a second and ask Eric, am I pushing too hard on a thing that doesn't matter? Please tell me.
Right. I mean, that's the thing, is like the answer is no. The answer, no, you weren't pushing too hard. It's just like the charisma rolls you did to figure it together. It's like you can't unlock this. This
Right.
thing as it was not open to you. So I think the answer was no, but I'm not going to tell you anything else unless you do something else or you decide to just take Piney at their word.
Right.
Yeah, Troy's impression was like, doing their job, nice, moving on, and mine as well as a player was like, yeah, this seems like somebody who's sort of doing their job but is not going to, necessarily say a bunch of things and offer a bunch of things that we aren't specifically citing, because that's not what you do. Like, you make the customer happy with the demands they ask for, but you don't offer more shit that makes your life or day more complicated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Lance Reddick as the concierge in John Wick. That was also something I was pulling from, and how good he is doing that in R.I.P. to an absolute fucking legend.
I Couldn't Help Myself wants to know, since they're word sharks, are their internal structures made of verbiage?
Yeah.
I see you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a Schoolhouse Rock cartoon where we're learning about verbs, and it's like, here's a word shark, they move because they have to, and they're filled with words that are actions.
I'm just a shark. Oh, I'm only a shark.
I thought you were going to do I'm just a shark and life is a nightmare, which I'm like, okay, that too.
I'm
Julia,
just a shark and life is a nightmare.
Julia, you got some stuff you want to work through?
You wanna be a green folk idiot.
Now,
good.
is that the Broadway version or the...
No, it's the original
Radio.
one by Green
It's
Day.
obviously
and
the
they're
Broadway version.
No, they're still called Green Day in Verta Stillwell.
St. Jimmy's coming now across the alleyway. All right, Eric. Malignant Sloth has a bunch of great questions. What was the disengage mechanic that you were using in this encounter with the word sharks?
It was like a move that the sharks had, right?
Yeah, it was this splash thing. So the bullet sharks in the monster manual can just like dive. They're in deserts. I think it's kind of like giant worm sort of thing if we're talking about Dune. So they can just like dive and they make a big splash. So I used it as an excuse to disengage, because we were like vaguely in initiative. We really weren't in initiative, as Troy and Cammy were just kind of on guard. So I was kind of just like threading that stuff in between. But that was a move that I have, and yeah, y'all can just look up bullets in the monster manual. Or
I am right now.
Yeah, so it's fun. I mean, they're CR5, and I think I kept it. I didn't really change all that much. I just said they were word sharks and made out of stuff. But that stuff's out there for free, and I didn't buy it, so I'm fine with it. Making it fit in our campaign.
Are they called bullet sharks or just bullets?
It's BULETTE.
Oh,
They're like
interesting.
land sharks.
Bullet.
It's a
Bullet.
bullet. If it was a Pokemon, it's called the land shark Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just imagining the what are they called? The bullets from Mario.
Oh,
Yeah,
the bullet
right?
bills, yeah.
Yeah.
Bullet bills.
That's what I thought you meant when you said that. I was like, oh, there must be like a third party that like converted Mario villains into D&D characters, which is kind of neat.
Unrelated. If anyone knows that, just send it to me.
Yeah.
Unrelated, that would be dope as fuck. Malignant also asked, are the word sharks native to the Book C, or did someone bring them there? Are the books their home, or were they conjured by whoever built the book depository? Maybe Tessie?
Yeah.
My impression was that they were an invasive species, right? Because Piney wanted to get rid of them.
I think at some point I also said, oh, I don't know if this is their natural habitat, but I would hate to remove them. And then immediately it surfaced dead. And I was like,
Yeah. Oops.
That was so funny.
It was very good, bro. That was a great joke.
It was I thought it was so funny. This is related. Michelle Spurgeon asked about like, what does the Book C look like?
Yes.
Like, what's the book water made of? Is it like water or books about the sea, or is it just like damaged books? So if we could all go back to like fourth grade where we were learning about the rainforest, how like the floor of the rainforest has like a lot of stomped on leaves and trees that have fallen down that all kind of just like meld together, which is the second reference to rainforests that I used for these three three episodes.
Yeah.
I thought it was like that, how the things you were walking on were books that no one had like wanted for a while. It was very also like Scrooge McDuck's Gold Depository. There are mountains and there are valleys and stuff, and you can just find things. So like the Book C to me was they were stomped on and just kind of like pushed down. And yes, I thought that the word sharks were an invasive species that Tessie put there for sure.
Nice.
Aw.
Even if Piney was like, sorry, nothing I can do. There's just word sharks.
I feel less bad about killing it now.
I did feel less bad about killing them because they were bloodthirsty, but then Eric made that sound of a hurt puppy when it got shot, and I wanted to die. So,
Oh, you mean
I
this
felt
one?
real bad.
Oh.
God
no.
damn it, Eric.
Well, maybe you should think twice before hurting animals. This episode sponsored by PETA. PETA! We're not doing it right.
Give me that one clean, and I'll put it on the Discord soundboard.
Absolutely not. No, I refuse.
All right. Casey wants to know, Eric, as someone with a horrible fear of sharks, are you also afraid of them and working through some stuff? Or are sharks just so awesome you can't help but use them? And related, Moritz wanted to know if the word shark was 4D. Is it a time shark? And Duran said, who would win in a fight, word shark or time shark?
First of all, time shark. Time shark is a mythological being, and a word shark is just kind of a shark.
Mm-hmm.
No, sharks are tight. Sharks are great.
Sharks are cool as fuck.
Sharks are very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really excited that we get to work with marine animals because I think that they're underrated and a lot of them are tight, and just being able to like surface them, the pun absolutely intended, from just being like rare things, I think is fun. And it's been really interesting working with like these mashed up marine animals for the campaign so far.
Don't surface them. They have to stay under the water, Eric, or they die.
Not all of them.
That's right. That's right.
Not all
But
of
here's
them.
the thing. In this fantasy world, they can be wherever I want them to be.
Ah.
Like blobfish just look like that. It's not a pressure thing.
Brandon, I want you to know specifically that I'm thinking about the book C as a badly managed compost pile where the bottom is like really compacted and then there's some invasive species in there and like the hot zone's not hot enough.
I love
You know,
that.
you know what I mean.
I love that.
Cheryl Rosbach says, Where's Troy was a beautiful moment of realization. Was that natural to the players or worked out in editing? Oh no, Eric just ended the session that way. And then we
Yeah.
all had to say, okay, hanging up now.
Yeah.
We might have said like something in between, just like offhanded, so I might have cut that, but like everything else was normal, was natural.
With that, yeah, because that saving throw was Umbies used his old man strength to hold onto the journal, and then Cammy was surfing, right?
Yes, because I rolled a nat 20.
Because you rolled a nat 20. So then we were too busy like, woo, hang 10 Cammy. And then Julia was like, ha ha ha, well, where's Troy? And I'm like, yeah, Troy's not there. End of episode.
Yeah.
And we're all like, ah.
Which, like, I think we kind of knew to a certain extent because I remember, Amanda, you didn't roll well. And so I
Yes.
had a feeling that that was going to be the case. And so that's why I kind of worked it into whatever Cammy was saying because I was like, oh, blah, blah. Troy?
Yeah. That was great.
Can we all just wonder where Troy is? Like, Troy?
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 Troy! What are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that, Brandon.
exactly.
You participated. You're
Exactly
good.
right. You
Yeah,
did it.
there you go.
So now, of course, we get into episode 8, which is fabulous. And I got to tell you that when Eric said, Amanda, leave the room, and I said, what? That's exactly how it went. And Brandon, I want to commend you for really making that trade-off and going in and out feel as like unexpected and like kinetic as it did actually playing it in the edit. I loved the inclusion of the Google Meet noises.
Yes, I love that.
Well, I want to commend you, Amanda, for being the first to be kicked out of the room and not be like, what the fuck did I do? Oh my god!
I did take a fun selfie from just outside the studio of me looking slightly like a kicked puppy, so I'll make sure to post that today.
Yeah, no, those sounds were great. I think something that we can definitely do as a podcast is that we get to like put fun sounds in and sound design. And that also means like enhancing the gamesmanship, I think, of what we're doing here and what we do during the party as opposed to other actual plays. So I was super stoked on that.
I thought it was really great, Eric, because for me, that's an experience that is more something you can do for an in-person game.
Yeah.
And a lot of my games that I play are over the computer or via Zoom or whatever. And so it was really, really cool to have that experience of being quote unquote at the table and being told, okay, I'm going to take this one player aside, or the rest of you relax while me and this person go outside to talk about something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You have to do it in a different way. I think we've been doing this for a little while in terms of like doing one-on-one episodes, but like it's never a secret. It's always like, oh, there's a recording time, so I'm going to bring you in one at a time. But that was the first time I think that it really felt like someone was being excluded for narrative reasons. And I'm like,
Yes.
I was kicking around how we were going to do this, like I want the feeling of having to get Troy, but then Amanda's going to be like, oh, here I am. I'm down here the whole time. So I
Yeah.
really wanted to figure out a way to make this a little scarier and also to like look around and try to discover things. The funniest thing was Umbi doing the Bear Grylls spiral.
Yes.
But I like that because it's like, you don't know. You 100% don't know. And I wanted to try to reinforce that and let the gamesmanship like double down on that.
It's Jesse Krebs,
Oh, I'm
masterclass.
sorry.
Ah.
Just to give credit where credit's due.
I think my favorite part of that episode was finding out that Brandon on a flight chose to watch a masterclass on
Julia?
that.
Guys, can I tell you?
I didn't hear this.
Oh,
Can I
yeah.
tell you, Julia, I've watched this thing 3 times now.
Why?
What are you talking about?
So on Delta, they have a couple master classes that you can watch for free, like on the back of the seat,
Yeah.
They have like a really great one on gardening, by the way, the Amanda, if you ever on a Delta one, you should
Oh.
watch. And I like master classes, like they're fun. But there's one by a survivalist named Jesse Krebs.
Cribs. I thought you were joking.
But nope, her last name's Krebs. And yeah, I watched it. The first time I watched it, I was like, yeah, I had like 23 minutes or whatever till the end of the flight. So I was like, there's nothing I can watch, so I'll just try this. And then I got sucked into it. And now every time I'm on a Delta flight, I try to finish it because it's so good. And then sometimes I rewatch it because I'm like, I want to remember this.
So Brandon told us this, Amanda, and we were like, did your phone die? Like, did they not have any other things available on the flight? Like, are you okay?
It's amazing.
Maybe I just have a fantasy of like getting lost in the woods or something. And
No,
not
it's
having-
it's true. I mean, listen, Julie knows all about the fungi you can eat. Like that's
Yeah.
good to know. But yeah, I had no idea. Like Mel 118 asked what I was doing when I got kicked out of the room. Like I sat down to start recording at noon our appointed time and like had my stuff set up and my my water and my tea and my dice, and Eric's like, "Yep, man, get out of here." And I'm like, wait, what? So I was just sitting out there listening to Bruce Springsteen because we were about to see him in concert, and I'm like, I should brush up on more than the top 5, I guess, and waiting to be brought back in.
The other thing about this is that I was having trouble figuring out how to start the episode because I really wanted to set the scene and then kick Amanda out. And that was like, I had also had like the narration for each group of characters, the one I was going to share with Umbi and Cammy and the one I was going to say to Troy there, but I didn't have like the first thing, and I'm terrible at starting the episodes, so everyone was like, oh yeah, Eric's gonna try to figure it out, and I'm like, oh, they don't know I'm gonna kick Amanda out of the room in a second.
That's great. It was awesome.
It was very, very cool. I liked it a lot. And then Brandon and I just talked about Star Wars when we were not in the call.
Mm-hmm. It was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah.
It's fun when you go back in the edit and you like sync everything up, and then you get to like the second part, and it's like, why is there's just a ton of Star Wars talk overlapping with the game?
Because we didn't know to turn it off at that point. We didn't know how it was going to go down.
It's funny.
That's very funny. I wanted to know actually, Julie and Eric, how did you guys think about the like Nani searching mechanic? Because from my perspective, Troy's kicking around, Nani comes over and, helps guide me more directly to where I have to go. But I wonder if that's something that y'all talked about or that was sort of baked into Nani's stats before we needed it.
So that's baked into the familiar stats already. Is basically you can use a familiar to see and hear through, even though you can't speak through it. And you can also cast spells through the familiar with the witch class in particular.
Right.
And so that was something that I knew I could do without putting Cammy's physical body in harm's way, which I was a little concerned about. And so, yeah, it was just like this is the best thing I can do. There was like a moment of panic at the beginning of the episode where Brandon and I were looking at each other. We're like, what can we do to find Troy? Do you have spells for this? I don't have spells for this. I can help you look. I can send Nani in, but I can't really do much. So that was the biggest thing.
I was gonna ask about that too, actually, Amanda, because I was curious does that leave Cammy's body vulnerable when she's doing that?
Yeah, so if Cammy is basically warging through Nani, it leaves Cammy blinded and deafened. So I think I believe I cast Sanctuary on myself, which would just mean that the word sharks would have had to do a wisdom save in order to attack me.
Yeah.
Which I don't imagine the word sharks were super wise, but
No,
also
I
am not
failed
sure.
that. I failed that
Yeah.
twice.
They
All
are
right, cool.
great sages of our time.
Yes.
They're
So-
swimming in the books, man. They got to know all of it by now.
Yeah, exactly.
Think about how much those word sharks osmosis that knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. They're made
Bruh.
of words.
So yeah, that was like my theory was like at least Nani, who has a swimming speed, can get down there and look for Troy and not be too concerned about breathing and stuff like that. Like I was concerned about Umbi and Troy in particular. It was a very anxious inducing episode. I spent a lot of time being like, okay, if I'm not with Umbi, I have to make sure that like when we're in a scene together, he's gotten back up to get some air or something like that. And
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, Amanda, let me know when, at what point during this after party can I ask, what the fuck, why'd you shoot me in the ass? Let me know when that's
Yeah.
time.
No, Brandon, I'm glad you brought it up. It's important for us to talk about. And Zach, the Crag dad, said, Brandon, can you walk us through your headspace when Eric slacked you? What's your AC with no context when you were just hanging out on your own?
I wonder if I still have those messages. Let me look back real fast.
Yeah, that'd be great. But no, the thing is, Troy was fine, and that's the thing that was making me worried, Julia, during this episode. Is I was like, oh no, I'm fine. Like Troy's fine. He's got high HP. Like he got a cool necklace. Like lots of good stuff is happening to Big T over here, and everybody else is worried about him. And so, Brandon, that was my logic. Is like I have to like let Umbi know that he doesn't have to go back down, because I could see us getting into a situation where I'm fine and now you're imperiled, and I have to further imperil myself trying to bring you back. So that's the closest I got, and let it be known, I did not say the butt. I did say the foot. Other people said the butt, and other people said the pants fell down, and it was not how I intended it going.
I don't remember that.
You know, that's fair. You didn't pull off my pants or hit me in the butt. I will give you that, Amanda. But you didn't also think just like rope or like
No,
throw
I
a
did
book
not.
at me
I
or-
did not.
No, it was awesome, especially because Amanda expended a risk die to do it.
I did. I
So
did.
It was extra. It was supposed to pin you to the wall so you would stop running.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I
there's
know.
no way to take all the pain away. It was a beautiful one HP hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did those messages look like?
I looked back at my Slack and I just said 13, but I think at the time I was definitely like, what the fuck? I mean, I definitely thought, you know, there was a word shark situation or something, but
Not friendly fire, Brandon.
the bigger jump scare was when I came back and it was all three of you all at the same time went, "Give me a wisdom roll!"
You're like, do I have to? I'm like, yes.
or whatever it was, a dodge roll or whatever, but yeah.
Oh, that was so funny.
I
Jesus.
think the best part of this, speaking of, I knew for a fact that Cammy was defenseless and couldn't see or hear anything, because Cammy jumping out, coming back into her body, and an old man screaming at her was my absolute. Actually, no, my favorite part was Umbi versus Umbi, but my second favorite
So
part
good.
was a man screaming that your friend cuckolded him. Was the first thing that happens after you come back to your senses.
I also truly loved the timing, and this is just tooting my own horn. I loved the timing of this old man yelling at me, and Cammy goes, "Tell me more," and then wargs out
Yeah.
immediately.
An incredible moment, Julia.
Yeah.
You are welcome to toot away.
I will toot toot.
Someone said on Tumblr that they found like a bad RPG hooks or something Tumblr that was like, oh, make sure one of your characters has the ability to roll, and then maybe they'll see that like an NPC is actually someone they know. And I'm like, oh, we do this. It's a background feature for one of our characters.
I will look it up right now. Hold on.
Also, Brandon and I establishing that all old people can do this was very fun.
Amazing.
So
Extremely
doing
funny.
a contest of it was very, very interesting.
Yeah, because you initially had thought to do a contest, and you were like, "Oh, can I do this?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, you could do it. Let's go."
Yeah.
So this was a post from Probably Bad RPG Ideas, and
Yeah.
they said the quote-unquote "I know a guy" mechanic, but you can't just make up a new NPC to help. Instead, you can once per session point at an established NPC and say, "Aw shit, that's my ex." And shout out to Yeehaw Poor Cryptid on Tumblr, who said, "Join the party does this, and it is absolutely not a bad RPG idea."
Nice.
go.
that's
Which I
great.
agree.
Very good.
Hey, editing Julia, this is serious. Can you cut out that toot toot that you just said so I can use it for the Discord
Toot
soundboard,
toot.
please? Thank you.
Toot toot.
Toot toot tootie.
And folks, before I go ahead and refill our nacho platter, Sarah Purple People Eater wanted to know, was there a list of cool books the PCs could have found in the book room? If so, what are some of the ones they didn't find?
I'm gonna guess no because we caught you off guard, right?
I mean, you could have said if you were looking for a book, you could have rolled for it. I just
Yeah.
think that like I kind of structured again because I had to make up all these game mechanics on the fly. You were looking for a specific one, so that's why Umbi and Nani were able to like dig, and Cammy and Troy were on guard, so I kind of like structured the whole mechanics around that. But if you were looking for something else, I think that we've done this before. I just would have asked like, what are you looking for? What do you want?
Book
And I
about
think-
barrels.
And we would have
Book
just
about barrels.
and you would have done a different investigation check, which also would have been hard because you're looking for a needle in a book stack.
Book stack.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We
So it
got
would have
that.
been difficult to find something specific, but yes, there's no list. But if you wanted something, it would have been there.
There's a list in your brain because you're an English major.
If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. That's what Eric always says.
True.
All right, folks, I'm going to go refill the nachos. Sometimes you get to the bottom and there are nachos with no things on them, and you have to just like go ahead and put another layer of
Ugh.
toppings and then just kind of like rebroil. So I'm going to go do that real quick, and I'll be right back. Hey, it's Amanda. I am, for the very first time, growing something edible. Y'all know that I love houseplants, but this is my first year growing cucumbers, tomatoes, and peppers all on the roof of my apartment building. And oh my God, guys, there is absolutely no better feeling than going up to your raised bed and looking in the dirt and for the first time seeing a little bit of sprout. I thought the best thing was a new leaf feeling, but it's not. It's the new sprout feeling. Welcome to the mid-roll. God, it's so green. Welcome to new patrons, Aurea and Lucy. I so appreciate that you made time in your budget to support Join the Party. Made time in your budget, you know what I mean. And it's a great time for all of you to support this campaign on Patreon. We are an independent podcast putting dozens of hours each week into making a show that you hopefully love, and we can only do that because of your support. For just $5 a month, you get access to the best place on the internet, confirmed. It's the Join the Party Discord. You get a bi-weekly party planning podcast at the audio version for the $5 tier and video version for the $10 tier, and just the knowledge that will genuinely keep you warm at night and help your plants grow better, that you are helping to make this show a reality. Join us today at patreon.com/jointhepartypod. This week at Multitude, I want to shout out a fabulous show that has been cranking weekly for almost 5 months now. It's Games and Feelings. This is an advice podcast about games, but it's really about so much more. It's also about the people we play games with and the people who make the games that we love. Question keeper Eric Silver, who you may know from this podcast, and a revolving cast of guests answer your questions at the intersection of fun and humanity. They did a great episode recently with Ben Hansen of the Min-Max video game podcast network and talked a lot about the business of making stuff online in a way that I think you will find really, really interesting. And of course, permanent guest Jasper Cartwright, recently married and host of Three Black Halflings, is on most episodes giving advice, recommending games, answering advice questions, and more. Now, go ahead and check it out at gamesandfeelings.com or look up Games and Feelings in your podcast app. We are sponsored this week by 20-Sided Store. And now listen, I know we have some parents out there. I hope if you are a mom, you enjoyed a happy Mother's Day recently. But imagine that you could like treat yourself with that amount of energy all year long by going to your local game store and picking up just something cool and interesting for you. Maybe it's a zine, maybe it's a puzzle, maybe it's a board game, maybe it's a new dice bag or a new set of dice, because let's be honest, none of us need it, but all of us want it. That is how I feel every time I walk into 20-Sided Store, and their wonderful collection of games and accessories and stuff by indie makers can also be yours by the power of shipping. Check them out online at 20, that's the word 20sidedstore.com. Or if you're in Brooklyn, you gotta go. They have a brand new retail space at 280 Grand Street, just a couple stores down from the best soup dumplings in Brooklyn, by the way, at M Shanghai in Williamsburg. God, it's so good. And they have been kind enough to offer a discount to Join the Party listeners. Use code PIRATE for 20% off your order online at 20sidedstore.com. Or if you visit them in person, all you gotta do is mention Join the Party, and they'll give you that 20% discount. That's 20-Sided Store. This show is also sponsored by BetterHelp. And it is so easy in life to get caught up in what everyone else needs from you and never think about what I need from myself, what you need from yourself. That's one of the reasons, honestly, that I like growing plants so much. And I am trying to grow edible plants this year upstairs on the roof because, listen, it's inconvenient. I got to haul water up there. I got to go through like a really weird and spiderwebby stairwell to get up to my roof. But I get to take those few minutes every morning. And by checking in on my plants, I am checking in on myself, you know? And yes, this may not be exactly what I should be doing because I'm thinking about what the plants need from me, not what I need from me. But you know what? I will take it. It's close enough. And when I told my therapist about this, she was really excited and she really thought it was a good idea because I get to take a few minutes to just stand outside and be in the sun or the cloud or the rain or whatever and think a little bit about, I don't know, what I need from myself today, how I can try to give myself the care and attention and tending that I give to my plants. Some days it's a struggle, sometimes it's easy, but I really appreciate that I have a space in therapy to talk about that stuff. And if you are looking for a space like that for an ally or friend or caretaker, you know, somebody who you can talk with that will help you figure out how to enrich yourself, how to add to what you need, how to take a little more time for you in your day. Therapy is a great way to do it, and BetterHelp is a very easy way to try therapy if you've never have before. It's convenient, entirely online. All you got to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge if you're not vibing or their schedule doesn't match with yours or whatever else may be up. Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/join the party today for 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/join the party. And finally, we are sponsored by the Oracles of Ogra, Sarson Games' fourth successful Kickstarter project. This is a book of gods, avatars, and subclasses, a whole new pantheon of gods that you can use to build champions, religions, cults, factions, holy sites, epic encounters, you name it, they've got it. Each god has a backstory and character points that can turn them into good, evil, or chaotic neutral deities, so you can shape them to your world in whatever way you want and create really unique moments that fit in with your campaign and your players. There are also over 40 subclasses planned for the book, with each one being linked to a god in some way. Those include sand druids, wood wizards, starlight rogues, drowned fighters, tomb warlocks, Zen barbarians, and more, including artificers and blood hunters, by the way. Now, this is the most ambitious project out of Sarson Games yet, and they've had hundreds of positive comments and reviews online. Their last project, which you may have heard of, is called the Herbal Journal of Cicely Longbottom, their most successful project to date, which is exclusively available as an add-on during this Kickstarter campaign, along with all their other previous projects. So visit sarsongames.com or at Sarson Games on Instagram to find out more. We also have a link in the description to the Kickstarter, which is live through the end of May 2023. And now, let's get back to the after party.
The key is to just do a single layer of nacho chips.
It is.
So that everything has some sort of topping on it.
Or you do a layer cheese, a layer rest of toppings, cheese rest of toppings.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Do a double
like,
decker.
like movie popcorn.
Yeah.
Of course.
Necessary.
Wait, how do you do that with movie popcorn? How do you take it out of the thing?
Well, Brandon, when you order it, you say, can you layer the butter in there? And they go, yes, ma'am, you're a discerning customer. And then they fill it up halfway, either give it to you to self-serve the butter oil, which, by the way, as a former vegan, that's not butter at all. That's simply oil.
Coconut.
And you can be lactose intolerant like me and eat it. And then you give it back to them, they final layer, and then you put more on top.
All workers are skilled workers.
So true. All right, let's talk about a skilled worker who absolutely thought that we were too intense, and that's Chaz the bartender, the bamboo with the skinny jeans.
I have qualms with the way that you framed that. I thought I was wonderful, and I tipped Chaz well, and I engaged him in good conversation.
I mean, he was enjoying it. He works at a bar at a theme park. Chaz is just fucking dealing right now.
Doing his best.
Yeah. I'm sure he was making 6 drinks at a time trying to talk to us,
Oh, especially with managing the research. That's what the thing was, is that he's waiting for the researcher's delight bell to go off. That's why he was so distracted, and he was trying to like fit in small talk around the crush, which you ended up seeing.
Yeah, and process-wise, as we were listening to Brandon's draft of episode 9, I was like, hey, all the times that Chaz is sort of like saying the sentence 3 or 4 times before he gets the sentence out, is that like, Eric, did you want to do that? Like, Brandon, did you want to leave that? And you're both like, yeah.
He's like, imagine he's shaking a cocktail shaker the entire time he's talking to Cammy.
I don't know if anyone here or listening has tried to have a conversation. Like, think of like TV and movie when people have like a dinner party and they're like able to like chop and saute and like cook while they're like entertaining their guests beautifully. And try that in real life, and you'll quickly realize it's hard to multitask.
You gotta burn yourself.
Yeah, so Chaz was like, I don't know, the lake encounter's there. I don't really see Tessie. She's my boss's boss's boss. I don't know what you're talking about. This is the most I can tell you. I have to serve these drinks.
No, it makes total sense now, but at the time, it didn't occur to me. But yeah, Chaz, I am obsessed with, and I had so much fun talking to him, and I'm sorry that Troy didn't get to do more small talk with him as I did my self-serve side quest.
You know what? Troy got to do some fascinating other stuff, so it's okay that he got to talk to the NPC.
It's true, and I felt a little like self-indulgent, and I gotta say that, at the end of the episode, when we are talking to Piney, and I had a legitimately chilling moment of Piney kind of calling us to the side and interrogating the fact that I absolutely stole something valuable. Like, Julia and Brandon didn't vote on what Troy did. And like, as a player and as a party member, I didn't want to endanger the whole party for a thing that I thought was cool. And now listen, I had I thought it was really cool. I thought it would be very fun for us to take. I happened to be in the room when the bear was singing and like saw the item there. Like, all of that was amazing, but I felt so bad that I was like using our amber and putting us into potential danger at the end of this episode. So I don't know, like, thanks for indulging me, guys, but I think the glasses are going to be an interesting thing for us to have.
You know what, Amanda? Like, we're a pirate crew. I think that this is probably a thing that happens a lot, where someone like wanders off and like comes back with cool stuff, and we're like, oh, cool, awesome.
Yeah, and there's no situation in which me or Julia would be in that situation that you had and not done the same thing. So
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, listen, your players are gonna go do stuff. It exists. There was a thing there. It had to happen. I'm glad you did it. It was a really interesting moment, and you put yourself in a really interesting spot. So I'm absolutely all about it.
And I appreciate that Troy did that, because I know as player Julia and also as Cammy, we were both hyper fixated on getting that specialty cocktail. So that was like, you were not dragging me away from that bar until I got the special researcher's delight.
Same.
Yes, and can you all three, who are more versed in Tiki and Disney lore, talk about some of the inspos behind the Researcher's Delight world and cosmology?
Eric, go nuts.
Sure. I actually learned this at PAX East. We ran into 2 friends, Andy and Luke from Outside Xbox, where Andy is a big Disney guy. So he told me about like this drink at Trader Sam's that I hadn't heard about. And I also had been fascinated about Trader Sam's in general, because I thought it was cool that like the different things on the wall sang when you got different things. I just thought that was really sick, and I wanted to put that in our game in general, and this gave me a very interesting opportunity to put it in. So when Book Depository Island turned into a theme park, that's when I realized I could put it in there.
Yeah.
Have you not been to Trader Sam's?
Oh, no.
Oh, we got to take you next time. It's going to be great.
Listen, I'm not a Disney person for sure.
That's right.
I go for Julia related events only.
Yay.
I don't think you need to have do you need to have a ticket to get into the resorts?
No, because it's just the Polynesian Hotel, so you could just go there casually.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So next time we're in Orlando, we'll go. But the drink that you're referring to is called the Polynesian Pearl, which comes in this kind of pearl-shaped glass. It like opens up, as we're talking about the interactive experience of Trader Sam's, it's like a big clam opens up and reveals the drink, which is really, really neat. And every 1 in 100 of those Polynesian pearls is a black pearl. So it comes in like a specialty black pearl glass. And that is apparently very rare. It is something that if someone like gets that while you're in the bar, it's like a big deal. And people will try to pay you like $100 in order to get that like specialty cup, which is wild. And that was the inspiration I had for selling the
Yes.
specialty
So
Researcher's
good.
Delight.
So smart.
You know, they do that with black kyber crystals at the Disney park
Sure.
or at the Star Wars land too. So that's pretty genius. Maybe we should do something with JTP merch. We're like 1 in 100.
1 in 100.
Yeah, well,
1 in
just like-
100 Jokins is like actual chrome or something. I don't
It's
know.
actual gold. It's like squishy.
You can
Yeah.
you can bite it. Yeah, that's good. Like our Twitch emote which has the golden Chad. Maybe, if we ever bring
exactly.
back the Chad dice, which I don't know if it's a thing people want, you should let us know. We can have like a signed sticker in there.
I was
Ooh.
thinking as I was falling asleep last night or 2 nights ago, I was like, maybe telling people on the podcast, like, the only way we grow is if you tell people. Maybe it's like the only way you get fucking merch is if you get more people into the show.
I mean, listen, it's true.
You need to bring 100 of you need to sign a petition and tell us what merch to make, and we will make the merch.
hmm
It's called a Kickstarter, bro.
No. See, so the only way we can make, let's say, Jokins, right? So we need X amount of people listening to the show to guarantee we sell X amount of Jokins.
Hmm.
So the only way to get the Jokins is if you bring in more listeners.
Mhm,
So that's
true.
up to you, y'all.
Now, this is starting to sound like a pyramid scheme.
Julia, shh.
So tell your downstream to listen
Yes,
to join the
yes.
party.
You don't have to listen. The downstream has to listen, and then you get the joke in.
Yeah.
You already
Exactly.
listen.
Rara wants to know, as a team, how many times and how much money would you have spent for the Rose Bear drink?
Like I
All of
said,
it.
I would have been there the entire time until we rolled it.
All of the time, all of the money.
It would have been a 3-hour episode of just me being like, all right, I do my strength saving throw, I order more drinks, let's
Yeah.
go.
I 100% was prepared to do that because that was the damage. Like, I wanted it to get to a point where maybe one of you passed out or there was an issue. I also 100% did this as truthfully as possible. I came up with like a 1D, I forgot what, 22, 23?
22, you said.
Yeah.
I made a 1D22 digitally, and it did come up as 22
Yeah.
when you rolled it. So I did it as truthfully as I could because I wanted it to go on forever.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And it was the perfect timing, too, because you had Troy in that other room when the...
I don't want to say too much, but it was literally perfect timing. That was serendipitous. The game wants what it wants. I can
the
only do
dice
so
tell
much.
a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do appreciate, Brandon, that you left in where I was like, yeah, Troy's going to leave. And you guys are like, look at the barrel. Look at the barrel. Look at the barrel. Look at the barrel.
Please.
Listen, we can all laugh at me playing a himbo, but, Troy does have to look at the barrels at a certain point. And you're right. Like, being a pirate, you smash and grab. And it's a really good, kind of impulse to have playing a character.
Amanda, we love Troy and we love every decision you make as
Thank
Troy.
you.
So it's fine.
I'm enjoying playing Troy as well. Only the Best Boy wants to know, was the tiny rose bear thought of when the Researcher's Delight was come up with?
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing, is like the pink rose bear sings its falsetto, everyone looks at it, and then you can put stuff into the bass singing bear. That's the moment.
Yeah. So in fantasy, it's glasses. In real life, it's kilos of cocaine. And that's great.
Yeah. So that is what the bouncers were doing, the Tessie people who were not really doing crowd control and also didn't stop me from going into the storeroom.
Right.
Fascinating.
They had other stuff to do.
Amazing.
Interesting.
Moritz wants to know, what are the flavors of the Researcher's Delight? And I know a couple of other people wanted to know, like, what's another drink on the menu at the Crimson Exchange? And specifically, our friend G wants to know, did the different layers have different properties? Like, does the drinker of the pink layer get some of kind of magical effect?
Can I suggest you watch our streams every Thursday at 12 PT 3 ET, and maybe we'll make a Researcher's Delight.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Ooh, I
Who
like
can
that.
say?
I think one is grapefruit, but that's it.
Okay.
Just a little palate cleanser.
Cool.
Yeah, no, drinking a Researcher Delight mechanically, like in the game that we played, it's just a drink. But I don't know. I literally just thought of the colors. I didn't think of what they were flavored. So I don't know.
I love it.
One of the weirdest and not like good things, but like fun things to eat at the Star Wars Cantina in Disney World is they have like, it's like a petri dish, but it's like a Jello shot with
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
with like pop rocks and some other like cool textural things.
Yeah.
So maybe something along. Maybe it's like a like a dirt cup, with like Oreos
Sure.
and gummy worms, but like
Ooh.
alcoholic somehow.
Yeah, I did definitely want the whole reason why it's separated is that you're supposed to access them in any order, and like if you stir it, even if you stir it, like the densities make them reassign. So it's totally up to you. You're supposed to drink it however you want, for sure.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking about making an adult like boozy pudding cup with like crushed Oreos and then like gummy worms soaked in vodka.
Well, you could just
sounds so
make
good.
like a Jello shot gummy worm, right? You could just
Yeah.
mold the Jello shot into gummy worms.
Oh, that's
That's a
cool.
good point.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
A boozy
Yeah.
pudding cup is my drag name.
It should be. Jaya, Tokyo Drifting Pizza Guy, wants to know, Eric, how do you come up with these cool things to make NPCs out of? A square of grass? A cube of water that's a cranberry bog? Holy shit!
I don't know, man. I get it.
All of us said, damn, Eric, this cranberry bog, best ever. Best ever. Like, all of
So
us in the
good.
moment were like, good God. And the high shorts, amazing.
I know, and he's just a dad.
Incredible.
I just
Yeah.
used this NPC as a dad.
I aspire to be that cranberry bog when I'm older.
Seriously.
Same.
I get the thing. I'm just trying to do different forms. I was getting a little tired with myself of either being like head is the thing and then humanoid body, or whole body is the thing with little arms and legs. I was trying to get out of that. So Piney, I was trying to push myself, and the cranberry bog, I was trying to push myself. And I was also inspired by the square of grass as well, which I thought was really fun. So I'm just trying to put different shapes in as green folk.
Hey, man, doing a great job.
Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah.
I'm trying. Shout out to my list.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was the cranberry bog on your list?
Cranberry was on the list, but then I was like, oh, let's do the bog.
So
Raise
cool.
the stakes, bruh.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. And then like the shorts, because the shorts were good, and I also had a little bit more time because of Julio's great idea. So I had some time to think about what I wanted to do, and that was nice.
Hee hee hee.
Speaking of Julia, the question surgeon, Michelle Spurgeon, would like to know, how disappointed were you that the bar trivia wasn't trivia, but indeed a roll of the dice?
You know, I don't expect Eric to run an entire bar trivia for me in canon. Was I disappointed? A little bit, but I shouldn't have expected more, so that's fine, you know? That would be an insane thing for you to do, Eric.
Yeah. I want to say that before we recorded that day, Julia was like, I hope this place has bar trivia. And I'm like, now there is.
Now there is one.
So I came up with Craig with 3 A's
Yeah.
on the spot.
Craig.
Who's a pumpkin. So I had
With a
to,
goatee.
yeah, with a pumpkin with a
goatee.
goatee. So I had to fill that in. So no, I didn't know what else to do.
Mhm,
It would have been really funny to like do like obscure sports trivia, but vertistellify it. Like who won the
Mm.
Heisman in '86? It's a
Yeah.
Yeah, Corncob Johnson of University of Tennessee.
mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Classic.
Rachel DeBruin says, how stinky was Umby after he got trampled that first time at the bar?
Shut up!
So much peppers. So much peppers.
It's not stinky. It smells. Do you think green bell peppers smell stinky?
Yes.
It's musky.
It smells like green bell peppers.
Mm.
I would use that as an air freshener.
Really?
You
No.
got in a taxi.
It was a pepper.
And it was a pepper. It's a tree, but it's
Pepper
like,
cut in the shape of a tree.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a weird green.
Oh boy. Oh, that's funny.
I was essentially picturing a cab air freshener when you described Piney, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. Heine's a flapper dress, just a full person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And closing out the Crimson Exchange here, Katie Morris says, words cannot describe the level of delight I felt at hearing the words, "That's right, motherfucker," in the voice of a small child. Now I just have one very important question. How do I go about adopting this small knife-wielding child? Is there a form I need to fill out? Are there fees?
No,
You
just take
can't
him.
adopt a force of nature.
It's true.
Just take Orlando. Just take him.
I
He's
love
a
that his
legend.
name was Orlando. So good.
That's so good, Eric.
It was. What am I supposed to do? The first question I was like, "Where do you want to sit?" And then the three of you like fucked around for 5 minutes. I'm like,
No,
all right,
that
we're
is not
here.
what happened, sir.
It's like, all right, we're here. No, let's flesh it out. We want to spend time having this situation. Let's flesh it out.
No, what happened is said, where do you want to sit? And I said, are there bar stools? And you said, of course there's bar stools. And I said, great. And then I was going to tap on a younger person's shoulder and say, hey, do you mind if I borrow your seat? I'm an old man. And then you were like, it's a 4-year-old. And then I told my colleagues to shut up, and you thought I was telling the kid to shut up. So you pulled a knife.
Mhm.
Like I said, we wanted to spend more time
We
in the
fucked around
choosing
a
a
little.
chair situation, so I fleshed it out.
And Brandon, without your great accidental invention here of this situation, Troy would not have a book depository souvenir knife in his inventory.
That's true. That's true.
Yep.
It's great.
On the knife, Bookie looks like Cuphead.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that.
Yeah.
Hi, Miss Alyss wants to know, how many marriages has Umby ruined?
Not including his own.
You know what? Here's the reality. Umby doesn't remember either.
Oh
so-
no, Umby.
The number could be 1. It could be 0. It could be 10.
And age is it? Look, age is a number. Number of broken marriages is just a number. You know.
I feel like marriages in also in Overstock. Some of them are like common law or just vibes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like
Checks
what
out.
is a marriage?
I bet that's true in the Crags. Like, it's just like, yeah, you know, they've been together for a while. They're married
Yeah.
now.
This woman who hunts with me.
Mm-hmm. She's quote unquote my wife. Umby has the real energy of like the guy in a retirement community that is on his like 6th marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm.
absolutely, Julia.
Forgets their
okay.
names. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's the guy that you walk in and someone whispers that in your ear, and you're like, "That guy? What the fuck?"
Or it's,
How?
or it's like, hey, you see that guy sitting near Umby? That's his FBI case.
Yeah.
Also that.
Yeah, he blew up some buildings in the 70s.
Mhm.
But now they're married. They're together.
They're fine. Yeah.
30
Listen.
years younger. It's wild.
Yeah.
Charisma.
Smells like green bell peppers. I don't know what to tell you.
It's an aphrodisiac.
It's pheromones.
KKBug02 says, if there are TVs, are there also things like radios and on the mainland operator telephones? Gotta tell you, this shook me more than almost anything else in these 3 episodes.
Yeah, I think operator telephones. Here's the thing I was thinking about, just could speed some stuff up, was like on One Piece, they have like cars and stuff, but the way that they communicate is through snails. There are these snails that they use as like long distance communication devices, which I think was really fun. But they also have like mass radio, they have newspapers, they also have like some TV. So I just thought it was just to kind of move it along. Obviously there's not like mass media necessarily, but I thought it was just like to illustrate things a little bit easier for when we understand in our modern world and just figuring stuff out. Like the puppet show makes sense to me. I know it's ridiculous, but I think it's also funny that it's like, how do you get news? Like a bird drops off a big thing, or a boat drops off a big thing of newspapers that are a week old, or people act them out for each other based on their experiences. I think that totally makes sense.
Well, I think you also, like, listener, you also have to think about, like, there might be some common things that, like, different societies and different planets or different worlds, whatever, like, develop. Like, the written word, but like the form they take might be different, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, we everyone might have some sort of like written mail that, you know, gets passed along, but yeah, someone might use snails, someone might use dogs, you know, whatever it is. Yeah.
Great.
Speaking of which, had a really interesting question from Lefty. The mention of language made me curious, and now I'm wondering, is it possible that different Crags rulers speak different languages, and the palace guards that live through all the range just end up being polyglots? Are there different dialects spoken in each country, but everyone's also taught the equivalent of common, or is language universal on all of Verticello?
Well, as we've established, French is a canonical language.
Yes, France exists, that's for sure.
It's a Craggish language, I still think.
There has to be like a Quebec equivalent on one of
Yeah,
these
right?
countries. I think that's what it is. But no, I love that. That's tight. I love language. I love language history. Yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah, I was reading an article recently that friend of the show, Yvonne, sent me about speakers of Yiddish in Scotland and how the Scots
Ooh.
language and the Yiddish language have like that CH sound in common. And there was actually a lot of intelligibility between the two languages. So especially between the 30s and 50s, there was like a real, just like there is, you know, Judeo-Spanish and all other kinds of ways that like, you know, Jews in diaspora learn and kind of blend languages where they end up, that there was a kind of like Scots-Yiddish hybrid happening
cool.
in Scotland.
That's tight.
That is very cool.
That's really cool.
There was a poem in it. It was great.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Mel118 and a few others also said, so they don't know what a salmon is, but they do know what a shark is?
No. We know a word shark.
Again, they know
Yes.
what a word shark is. Remember, we are
Mhm.
using Avatar: The Last Airbender rules, where a salmon on its own, they don't know what it is, but as long as it's a combination between a plant and an animal, or an animal and some cool concept, it counts. So they don't know
Yep.
what a salmon is because it's just a salmon.
Yes.
There you go. Not a salmon berry. That we know.
If it were lox, we would know what it is because lox are smoke and salmon mixed together.
There we go. There we
That's
go.
true. I gotta change this to talking locks as the as the MacGuffin in this campaign.
Yeah, right. And Cassie actually asked, what are the gang's best guesses at what the salmon actually is? Like the characters' thoughts themselves.
I saw this question. I've been trying to think about that. I don't know.
I don't think Troy even has a guess. He's just like, oh, it's the thing we have to look for. Like it's not, the form of it isn't even important.
At some point, I do think there's going to be a scene where, like, the three of you and maybe some other people are sitting around a fire, and this question's going to come up. So I'm very interested to see what everyone's thoughts are.
Who can say?
Like, someone smokes some fantasy weed and then asks this question.
Yeah.
Gandalf's there.
Yeah, yeah.
Cammy makes edibles for everyone.
Of course, Gandalf's there. He's just Umbi. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
True.
No, Gandalf is like, who is this?
Abby Zamet said, is there a JTP Campaign 2, parentheses, Green Folk version, comic book in the book depository?
Ooh.
I'm sure.
Maybe.
I'm sure there
Who
is.
can
That'd
say?
be fun.
Yeah.
I like that.
If you dig deep enough, there was actually a mirror underneath all that stuff. So
Gasp.
Oh, and actually, Cora said, can everyone understand Nani? In my head, this has sort of been yes, but what do you think,
Oh,
Julia?
I don't think so.
I think it's like droid language in Star Wars where it's like kinda.
It's binary. But
Get her meaning with the gesturing and
yeah,
stuff.
in
Yeah.
Star Wars, the droids speak binary, and some people speak it and some people don't. So, like,
Right.
I don't think Umbi understands Nani, besides just, like, general gestures and movements and stuff, But
I think it's like Jake and I have been watching a lot of Star Wars Rebels lately, and in my mind, it's like a normal person listening to Chopper talk, where it's like,
Sure.
I get
Yeah.
the vibe, I know what's going on, I
Yes.
can kind of hear the words that you're saying, but I don't know the exact words you're saying.
Like me visiting Quebec.
There you go.
I mean, I'm certainly aping the best familiar of all time, Paw Paw from
Oh, so good.
NADPOD Campaign 1, which is it's just a fun joke. I just love it.
Yeah.
So I'm just enjoying
What was
myself.
that joke?
Whatever.
Mhm.
Paw Paw was just very
oh,
expressive.
okay.
He just goes,
And then he was a lawyer for a while.
Mhm. Every once in a while, they would be able to talk to him via like speak to animals and stuff like that, and he would have. Was it like a very fancy accent when
Or
they
it was like
would speak
super
to him?
deep or something. I can't
Yes.
remember what it is. Yeah, but no.
It would be like
he was just-
young one.
Yeah, he was just very expressive.
Yeah.
And that was always fun to do. And like, cause Murph would just go, rah, 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 and then me going, brrr, it's just nice being able to,
It's the equivalent. I
Lean-
like it a lot.
yeah, lean on something like that. Yeah, for sure.
And finally, Julianne Brannon again, mea culpa. I did activate your trap cards, and Janine wants to know, what are your favorite chartreuse cocktails?
The Last Word. The Last Word is my favorite cocktail of all time, and it also has green chartreuse in it.
What is it? I've never heard of that.
Oh, so it's gin, green chartreuse, maraschino liqueur, which is sometimes difficult to get, but delicious regardless, and then lime juice. And sometimes they'll do it where they'll do a absinthe wash in the glass before constructing the cocktail. So it's
Yeah. I did an absinthe wash when I was 20. I raised a lot of money for cancer research.
Oh, nice. Good job.
It was for Habitats for Humanity.
okay.
I mean, there's a lot of cocktails that I like that aren't in like a classic cocktail book, but
Something like, let's say, 101 cocktails you can make for other people.
yes, exactly.
Mhm. Just a little wet, little sticky.
Yeah. But I also love a Last Word. There's also a bijou, which is really good, which is like a stirred all liquor drink, which is really good. But yeah, anything with chartreuse is going to be tasty, so you should get it.
True facts.
I want to give a shout out to all green drinks in general because it usually means they put tomatillo in it and then it's going to be absolutely banging. I've never had a green cocktail that I did not absolutely love.
I agree with that actually.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Very true.
Either like it's super herbaceous or there's tomatillo in it, so it's going to be like a spicy, interesting mezcal margarita or both. And I'm
Yeah.
like, nice. All right, good.
Tight.
All right, folks, it is time to spoil the plank. Are we ready?
Arr.
Yar.
Avast ye.
Library Chick says, with French being a Crags language, does that mean aubergine is from the Crags? Will Troy have a clue to aubergine's backstory?
Who can say?
Unless we unlock that in the skill tree. Yeah.
That's my theory currently, but things could change.
All right.
All right, I'm gonna have to write down separatist county in the Crags ? In my notes.
ASDJ Katie says, did the mysterious hand mean to give the glasses to Troy, or was it a right place, right time situation? And less of a question, more of a comment. So if you have the reading glasses, does this mean if they find a book about the Infinite Lake, they could be transported into it? Or what about a goldenrod story?
Ooh, a goldenrod story. Fun.
Those are all very good theories.
Oh, we didn't even get to talk about goldenrod at all.
The Respectful Raider. Oh my God, I love that rhyme. That limerick is my absolute favorite.
It was so good.
There's an episode of Star Trek Next Gen, because we're watching it right now, where they go into a Robin Hood basically story. So that's what I'm imagining.
They love doing that.
That's what I'm imagining happening here.
I do just want to call for fan art of Goldenrod, the Respectful Raider.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So funny. Loved his wife. Wasn't a
What
great.
type of green folk was he again?
He was golden. I think he was a flower. He was goldenrod.
Excellent.
So
Yeah.
good.
You made that up, right,
So
Eric?
good.
What?
The limerick?
The rhyme?
The rhyme?
Oh yeah, no, I spent a lot of time coming up with Raider rhymes.
Good.
I'm just
good.
on Rhyme Zone writing it out.
You
Yes.
you said it so casually that I was like, did he make this up on the spot? It's way too good to be made up on the spot.
Yeah, you know, Goldenrod, the Respectful Raider. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, what? What?
Loved his wife. I love
I
Goldenrod.
know.
I also want to shout out to the incredible Crimson Exchange Zoom Golly 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 song.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes, that is a that's like a old Jewish folk song that people used when they were like headed out into like the desert and then creating like the kibbutz and stuff. That's
Cool.
like one that they sang. So I knew that for a long time. So I thought that was just fun to include.
Hell yeah, dog.
Lives in my head now and as in the background. Casey says, this may have been answered, but do the characters know each other's backstories? Will Cammy ever talk about their past? Who can say?
Who can say where the wind blows?
I mean, Umbi mentioned he was a senator, and everyone was like, what? And that's offensive to me and Umbi. So
Why? You haven't told us your past.
you should know your senators. Be engaged in politics.
We're not from Overstock.
Nothing is funnier than this is like someone going over to their friend's house and it's like, oh yeah, my grandpa was a senator in the Balkans. And they're like, what? He's like, yeah, he's Slovakian royalty. How did you not know that?
Because we're not from Slovakia.
Eric, do you know what my brain filled in when you said you go to your friend's house and then
What?
my grandpa invented Ziplocs?
Do you know someone who invented Ziplocs?
No.
Okay.
Steven
Just to
Ziploc.
say, sorry, I'm really on the edge of the plank here. I gotta back up a few steps.
That's real Gretchen Wiener's like.
My father, the inventor of the toaster strudel.
Yes, thank you, Julia. Yes, that's exactly what that is.
All right. Couple more questions here and spoil the plank. Malignant Sloth says, what was in that one weird barrel? Malignant, we're never gonna know. We're never gonna
Eric,
know.
tell us what was in the barrel. We're not going to go back.
I'm not going to tell.
Tell
No, I'm not
us.
going to tell you what's in the
No.
barrel.
Tell us.
Shit. Michelle Spurgeon, do you think you're off the hook for the glasses, or do you think they can be detected as well as your lie?
Who can
Who
say?
can say?
Who can say?
We paid good money, though, to Piney, so.
We'll see. And finally, from Malignant Sloth, wait. Was Fun Mandy Potash on Crimson Larceny's ship? Does someone put on the glasses and watch their pranks? I can't wait to see more about those glasses.
Who can say?
Who can say?
I don't know.
Who can say?
Who can say
Amazing.
where the blame goes?
I can't say. You're just gonna have to tune in and
I
find
mean, you
out.
can. You're just choosing not to.
No, Julia, I intentionally knock myself out
Ah.
using a Batman batarang every single time. So
I say, oh, you memento disease yourself. Gotcha.
Yeah.
no, see, that's a affliction that is passed down from generation to generation that I've avoided. So no, I have to physically hurt myself using something from Batman's toolkit.
Sure. Makes sense.
Yeah, so that I don't remember. So I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, listeners, it is up to you to unlock Jokins and a Chad dice restock and perhaps a golden Chad, one in every 100 Chads. Maybe we can make a gold. You have to let your downstreams know, recruit 10 people who then recruit 10 people.
We can't make a pyramid
And all of a
scheme.
sudden, we have 111 new listeners join the party. I'm just
I
saying.
think it's legal as long as we don't charge them money, you know? Like,
Yeah, you don't have to mail us money in order to become a join the party affiliate,
Yeah.
but you can text 10 friends and have
we
them
could do
listen
a
to the show.
Ponzi scheme without.
And then
if
they
it's just
text 10
listeners.
friends, and then they
But
text
when we
10
say
friends.
that on the podcast.
And then ellipses profit.
Exactly.
I mean, something that We have a whole article on the Multitude website about the gospel of prosperity, and that's how we're gonna make it happen.
Amazing. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for this after party. And I gotta tell you, the next 3 episodes slap even harder than these 3. So, we are rolling ever onward.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
May your rolls trend ever upward, like a pyramid.
I'll sing you a song that all green folk know.